Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. Discover no-cost, valuable business services to help you thrive, whether starting your entrepreneurial journey or scaling your existing business. We have the resources and expertise to help you succeed. For more information, please visit our website or text 502-977-5800. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or engage with our speaker. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining on another Toolkit Tuesday. It's a great Tuesday. How are you today? Thanks for taking a minute out of your day to pop in. As always, I'm joined here with a good friend and coworker, Janet Flaw. How are you, Janet?
I'm great, Dave. Great day. Whoops, video's freezing already. Sorry about that. How are you today?
Great, great. Joining from Saginaw, Michigan today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So just to make sure that everybody can see in here, so if you wouldn't mind, if you looked at the bottom of your screen, you should see the toolbar pop up. If it doesn't, just hover over that with your cursor. It should pop up. There you'll see the chat feature. And if you wouldn't mind just saying hello and typing in your name and where you're joining from. So we know there's someone out there. I can kind of see everybody popping in, but I don't know if our technology is working. Sometimes it doesn't. There's Janet. Hey, April. April from Louisville. There's me saying hello. Anybody else out there? I think you are. There we go. Jamisha in Louisville. Audrey. Hey, Audrey. Hey, David, Philadelphia. Awesome. Great town. Covington. Hey, Christopher. Leonard, Georgetown. Awesome. Cheryl, South Carolina. Awesome. I bet the weather's fantastic. Hey, Michelle. West Virginia. People from all over. I really appreciate you guys joining in. Really do. Uh, Illinois. Awesome. Hi, Natasha. Hey, Linda. Well, thanks for joining us. We've got a great guest today. We've been on a kind of a marketing track in a way. And our guest has joined us before. One of the cool things that she brought up that I never really thought of because I hadn't noticed it, even though it was right in front of my face, was that, when I Google something now, the first thing I see is not a list of websites that kind of fit my search parameters, but an AI summary. And often that's all I look at. I don't even go to down below that. So the idea of advertising through pay-per-click or other organic ways may not be totally valid anymore. So there has to be kind of a change. And just to tell the story of how we met our guest today is Janet and I were having a meeting in a coffee shop and was intently overhearing Jessica talk to her coworker about some things. And we thought, well, Janet thought, we need to talk to this person and get them to come on Toolkit Tuesday. And Janet ran them down the sidewalk and said hello. And so Jessica is here to talk to us today, Jessica Denson. Jessica, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Glad to be back. Yeah.
And we really appreciate you for taking time out of your busy day. Um, and I'll let you kind of introduce yourself. I won't steal your thunder, but you really shared a bunch of information with us last time, and we're really looking forward to that again today. So
Well, thank you. So just who I am the communications director for national nonprofit Connected Nation. I do comms, PR, marketing. I know they all, they're all very similar. They share the family, but they're all different, just like siblings are. Um, I have to do a lot with earned media and marketing without a lot of dollars because we are a nonprofit. I think this is a good pairing, good thing, good day for small businesses. You don't have to invest a lot to do a lot. So
yeah.
yeah.
One other thing as we go through our hour together today, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat and we'll get Jessica to share her knowledge with us. And so this is a great opportunity for you to ask a question of, someone of the caliber of Jessica that you might not have in your circle of people. So take advantage of this and ask the questions. So.
Sorry, I was adjusting my camera there.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn over to you and let's just kind of dive in here.
Okay, that's great. Let me pull up my presentation. I will share
Okay.
it,
All right.
and then we'll get started. 1 second. Here we go. Here we go. If you'll notice, I am using a product called Canva. Canva is something that I would recommend everybody use in any kind of marketing they're doing. It's if they don't have, those traditional marketing comms dollars. It's not, you could do it for free. You could pay a small fee if you want more capabilities, but you can design stuff without having a designer that looks good. Like I did all of this and probably this little presentation in probably less than an hour, just using Canva. So it's something I would suggest for everybody. All right, so we're going to explore AI strategies, things that I've learned over the last year and a half, including during a conference I went to in New York City that had everybody from reps from Meta to Microsoft to Amazon. I mean, it was all heavy hitters, and then me and like two other small nonprofits. So there we got some really good information while we were there. And so from my head to you, what I've learned. Uh, First things first, out with the old SEO. The goal has changed. Uh, he talked about it at the beginning. David did that. If you go and you look at, if you go search now, it doesn't just bring up your website like it used to. Things are really changing. And I'm just going to explore why that is and how you can adjust things to help you and explore and make sure that people are seeing your business, that they're coming to your business for what you do specifically. And this can apply to anything you do, whether you sell paint supplies or you do actual artwork, whatever it may be that you do, you can apply these things. So AI models like Google's are prioritizing what they call EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And those are things that AI models are scrubbing for. The majority of these signals are determined by offsite factors. I won't read all of this because I know that we're recording it and you guys can anyone who wants a link to it, I'll give it to you. But this is especially true for authority and trust. And I'll explain how that works and why. The old model kind of with, you have your website and you put what you want on your details on it, and then people search the web or search Google or Bing or whatever they use, and it comes to your website. That's the old model of this. The new model is things are going outward. So what I mean by that is instead of people coming straight to your website, the signals that they should even come to you are out in the sphere around you, around with your partners and things you do in the community, stories about you, all kinds of things. So it's outward that's telling AI, hey, this business or this company is exactly what this person's looking for and wants information for. So before it was value in the click, and now the value is really in the mention. So let me think of it. I live in the Highlands, so up the street from me is O'Shea's. So as many times as I meant, you can get O'Shea's, that name out there mentioned, it matters more than people clicking on your website. If that makes any, I mean, that's what AI crawlers are picking up. Okay, I'll explore more. I promise I will explain it further. AI places immense value on the quantity, quality, and authority of those outward spokes. So right now, this 50% number was in July. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even higher now. More than 50% of Google searches end without a click. And what that means, they're called zero-click searches. And what that means is, just again, what David said, is that you go onto Google on your phone or on your computer and you search, and you get a little thing that comes up and answers you. And that's the AI model from Google or Bing or whatever answering you. And it then continues to answer other questions and things you might have following it up. If you look at it, there's a paragraph, and then below it are other things that it says about that. So say I want to know, oh, my doctor prescribed me this medicine, what is it? It would say what that is, and then it would tell me what the side effects are and what other questions that people intuitively ask is what it's trying to do. So you could end up where it would never get to your website. That's what is called a zero-click search. Okay. David, let me know if there's a question I need to stop for or anything, because I've got this on full screen. Or Janet, one of you two.
Yeah, I will. Looking
Okay,
good.
thank you. Um, So those spokes I talked about, I kind of alluded to it, are every conversation that you don't control. So say you work in a restaurant, and the restaurant in the little strip mall, and there's a haircutting place and a CVS and a dog or a pet food store or whatever. So say you guys all got together and were like sharing things about, oh, these are the other people in our group. These are the people you can find here. Don't just come here and get your haircut. You can also get your pet food. You can also get this. That third party outside voice is kind of what AI is looking for. So each mention is a signal. So essentially, as I write here, it corroborates and validates the claims made on your hub, which is your website. It can be everything from just somebody mentioning you to people on social media interacting about your company to you engaging with people. All of that counts towards that AI crawler. And there are ways to win this, I promise. So everything from media mentions, review platforms, expert analysis, say you sell kitchen supplies. I don't know why I'm on restaurants and and art supplies, but there you go. Kitchen supplies. Well, if you had a great report about why your supplies are a better feature, or there's something interesting about them, co-branding each other, helping each other, which small businesses I think kind of already do. I'm guessing, like you help. It'd be like if Connected Nation, we have a lot of partners. We're very partner oriented. So if I lifted up NDIA, they lifted up us. That is a co-branding where we would both benefit in the AI world. User generated content, a tag on Instagram, social influencer. Now, social influencers don't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be like Miley Cyrus or Madonna or any crazy person like that. It can be like a local person that that is maybe does recipes for people and has a few hundred followers. You could do that, and it could be inexpensive, or maybe just a fair trade. So those are your spokes. The digital town square is what AI is looking for. When a user asks question, AI scans that square. It doesn't listen to every voice equally. It amplifies voices it knows is credible. So we create this self-reinforcing loop essentially in this digital town square. So say I work in the digital skills training space with Connected Nation. We train people on how to use the internet, how to use their computers. So say a very strong voice of that NDIA I mentioned, their National Digital Inclusion Association, if they mention us, that gives us more credibility. That in turn shows our credibility. When we mention it, it becomes this cycle. And AI is listening for that in its little computer generated brain. All right. Here's how we get AI to give your business a thumbs up. That's one of my colleagues, the gentleman in glasses. Um, Provide the answers. So what you want to do, and these are things you could do for free. Some of it is minimal cost. Some of it is other people have to do it for you, but there are things that you can take control of. So when you write, I think it's important to you for you to have at least some sort of blog or some sort of um, newsletter, some sort, or be on Substack or Pinterest or something. Be out there where you're getting content about your business out into the world. Even if it's, you don't have to be a writer, even if it's like 2 paragraphs every week, something that gets stuff out there. Um, and you see, the tactic is, can a machine understand this in 30 words? So it doesn't have to be long. It's just very much like, this is the awesome stuff we're doing this week. This is how we are. This is our recipe. This is our menu for the whole week. These are the big sales we got. Or we had a customer come in and ask a question. This is what we told them, like a Q&A kind of thing. What are your questions about this? Things like that. I would structure it as a news article. So if there's, what I mean by that is the idea of a news triangle kind of thing, news pyramid, where so they used to do it for newspapers. And so when there was a lack of space for print, so they'd put all the important information at the top and then add details as they went on. And that's kind of what you want to do, because AI will scan that and pull it. So say, what's the best paint for a doghouse? And you're like, I've got the best paint for a doghouse. You want that question or that main point of whatever you're trying to sell or get out there in that first sentence or headline. Always do that. Reinforce your loop of trust. So say if there's a positive story written about you, or you've gotten some placement in the media or something, share it on social. Ask your staff and partners to share it. Or turn around and write a blog on it. Ask local media if they'll do a podcast on it, or start your own podcast. Put it on your website. All those little places for that same thing, so you're not having to do that work. All those places count in that AI crawl. So I often tell my team, I have a team of two, one full-time, one part-time, that helps me nationally to do all this. And we have a lot to do in a very little time. So I'm always like, write it once, use it 14 times, use things over and over again. And it's okay to come back and like, oh, you had that question? I answered that over here, and use it again. It's okay to do things once and use it multiple times. Get your business on knowledge panels. These are things like Wikipedia, Wikidata, Reddit, Substack, Signal. Wikipedia is the one that's really difficult because other people have to put you on there. I've had trouble with it. It's a pain in the butt. So some of the stuff that was on there about Connected Nation wasn't right, so I had to change it. You don't have control over it. So right now we don't even have a Wikipedia. But if you can get yourself on those, it's a good thing. If you use Reddit, if you go use Reddit, you could search very specific for your niche market, which can be very positive. It also could let you see what people are asking, what they want to know, or maybe what you could do with your business that could even like improve it and get more customers. Reddit is extremely niche in where you go. If you want to ask me questions about any of those. Substack, I've just started to explore Substack. Substack is a place where you can really put your newsletters, any of that news article content. You have more control over it that way. It's where a lot of people are going for news now. And Signal, you've probably heard about some of that in the political sphere, but it's a protected way, like kind of like WhatsApp is, to share information. Know what people also ask? This is a technique that I was talking about, where they had the paragraph when you search AI, and then they have the other questions you might ask underneath it. That's what that is. In your website, and I'm in the process of doing this as I have time, as my team has time, put facts on most of your web pages if you can. Even if it's a 3-page website, put facts, mark up those pages, write them as, say, for me, working at Connected Nation, people are often like, well, what does Connected Nation do? We are trying to close the digital divide. Well, Lynette, what would be the question after that? How? We work within access, adoption, use. Okay, well, what does that mean? So you want to think, if you're having a conversation with someone, what would be the next question that they would ask, and put it in those facts. That's another thing that AI will scan and pull. So the point is you'll have more of a chance to get your business mentioned, for them to send you to your business, for your website to come up high, by doing these four kind of things where you provide the answers. There's the inverted pyramid or the pyramid I was talking about. You want to think customer journey. This is typical marketing 101 kind of thing, but sometimes it's easy to get lost and forget these things, but they still apply in a sense in just a different way. So what are the steps between me and my goal? You want to think about that with the customer. Identify their questions at each stage. That would go to that what people also ask thing. Develop stage setting answers. So how can I answer the question and set up the next question? Monitor and test for roadblocks. So where are people getting stuck? What's keeping them from coming to you? What are you not seeing because you're in it, and which is easy to do. Like, I'm in the digital inclusion world. So sometimes I don't understand, I don't often sometimes don't see what would be the natural question if you don't know about it. So sometimes I would say several times a year you should go through these four steps and just think about, okay, if I'm not seeing results here, what maybe do I need to adjust? Um, and spend a day doing that. It could probably help a lot. Your AI agent will anticipate your questions. So that's the zero click search that I was talking about. They'll provide those proactive answers I was talking about. That's why you must explore and dive deep and answer those questions in advance and in multiple locations and ways. So you'll see everything I do from now is going to reinforce what we just talked about. Here are some other ways to adapt. I say adapt our content strategy because I'm telling you guys, I adjusted this slightly for y'all, but this is the same strategy that I have said to my CEO and my executive team, hey, we need to be doing these kinds of things, and this is how we're going to adjust. So I am sharing that straight with y'all. Target snippet friendly content, meaning small little leads. What is the digit for us? What is the digital divide? But perhaps if you're a pet store, it could be best things to look for when you're adopting, or how to get your home ready for adoption, or what are the best toys for an older dog, those kinds of things. Also within the website world, they have H2 and H3 headlines. They're pretty common, whether you're using WordPress, excuse me, or you're doing your own thing. These are pretty common, and these are something that AI searches for because they're very clear headers, and they can go grab them. Same thing with bullet points, tables, concise definitions, and answering questions early in post. So, just kind of adjusting instead of having to redo you don't necessarily need to redo everything, but just adjust it so that AI finds you. And again, I did all this on Canva, which is a great product. I don't get anything for it. So focus on branded and long tail keywords. So you want to put these in stories, tags on your website for blogs, press releases, pictures, videos, social. So for instance, it's a little bit longer, but it's an answer within what you're writing. So say you're doing a thing, maybe you do a recipe a week. You say best cake recipe I've ever made. Maybe that's your headline or it's top of it. And then below it is like, make sure you get these great ingredients from your location. The longer tail keywords are branded things that would brand your organization within those first sentence or two, no lower, which is why I said you could write 3 paragraphs. You don't have to kill yourself over this. These are the simple ways to have AI, and the simpler, the better, because you're talking to a machine and you're feeding it these stuff, essentially. Own your business's narrative. Make sure AI pulls your language, your key definitions. Do this by creating pages that create clear definitions of words. For us, digital divide's a big one. We define it, that everybody should have access, adoption, and use of it, meaning that they have access to broadband or high-speed internet within their area. They can even, they can't even get it. Two, that they can afford it and that they have the devices they need. That's adoption. And three, use, so that they know how to use it. That's that digital skills training. So that's our language. So what's your language? What are things that are important to you? What are some so maybe you're the cake maker, but you get your great products from someone else or great pans from someone else. Can your partner write you a testimonial and vice versa? You really want to own your business narrative, because if you don't, AI will ignore you, or it will bring something else up. Somebody will own your business narrative. Make sure you're the one who does. Go deeper. So provide real life examples, add visuals and tools, share story and results. And the reason, I know that might sound anti backwards from what I'm saying, but these things that I'm telling you up here is something all businesses, big and small across the country, are going to be working on. So if you do this well, the idea to go deeper is that you stand out with an emotional thing, or a where people care about you, or you give them reasons to come to your business in on a deeper level. It doesn't have to be emotional or dramatic. It can be, learning more, or why your business really stands out, that kind of thing, beyond the initial headlines. Storytelling that lands, that goes back to that deeper. So this is the thing at that New York conference I was talking about, that I heard so much about, and all the marketers there were like, well, how do we do it? We don't know what we're going to be doing, blah blah blah. Fortunately, this is something, because I was a journalist for about 12, 15 years. I already was, my team approach to comms, and because I work for a nonprofit, was already doing this. So a lot of other stuff is really, we're in a great place. It goes back to that idea of writing like a news person, writing like a news thing. The reason that AI responds to that is because it's looking to scrub. It doesn't want to go necessarily deeper, but then when you scrub, you want to be able to have those things that will really land with people and that they engage with beyond that. Because then AI goes to social media, it goes to these other things. I'm trying not to get too technical in some of the stuff they said, but it will, this is what will cut through the noise. Your story is the signal. So, why it works is 22% more memorable than facts. We're all moved much more. Like, I'd be much more moved if you were, say, again, back to a restaurant, and the chef is there because his mom, gave up uh her schooling so he could learn to go to, to do, what do they call a chef school? I can't, I'm blinking all of a sudden. Anyway, so that they could go train in Paris or something, like, that's cool. Or you've got a great waitress who is saving all of her tips so that she can buy a new bicycle. I mean, whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to be that, but any kind of emotional things that you can pull from your team or from your thing, it adds it adds a layer that a lot of organizations are going to miss, that you can rely on. So 1 through 3 are must-dos, in my opinion. 4 or 5 are if you want to cut through everybody else's. It's kind of what I've gotten over the last year and a half. I could explain that more. I feel like I might be not explaining that enough, but just think of storytelling as this engine that revs things up. And even if I told a long form story where it's really emotional stuff, I still would put those main facts in that top part and then explore things further below. Do you know what I mean? It would still be in that format. But maybe it's I don't know, make up a name. Vanessa Smith is saving every penny she gets from, uh, you know, Cakes a Million because she wants to go on a trip of a lifetime. Lead. You've said your name of your organization, you've said the things in it, and then you've gotten people in, you've got an AI, you can do some of the long tail. That second sentence, you could say something about your business, then go into the cool stuff about what she's doing. So it doesn't have to be emotional, but just think in all of this that the human story still matters. And if you've got that at all in your business, and all of us do, because we're all people, and it doesn't have to, like I said, it doesn't have to be sad. It can be just interesting, but get to know what your team is doing and things that maybe you about yourself that you should share, things like that. All right. Best practices for using generative AI. So say you want to use generative AI to help you with this approach that I'm talking about, which is okay. Generative AI is only as good as the information you put into it. So in other words, if I was going to feed generative AI all the information about CN, Connected Nation, I would want to feed it my mission, what we care about, our facts, and slowly begin to train that AI on who we are, right? So you feed your AI tools your brand voice, your mission, your definitions, just like I say there. And then you want to test some marketing approaches. You could ask it to reframe and use some keywords, push your business as the authority. What were some tips that would offer? So you can use generative AI to help you with this. Um, I use it with my team. I have certain guidelines because we do tell some stories that are personal. If one of my team, myself or my team, interviews someone one-on-one, they cannot use it to write the story because ethically I feel it's wrong. You have to write it. You've made that social contract. However, if I'm having an issue with what is my lead in this story or what is my headline, I might go to generative AI and throw the story in there. My seat keeps leaning down, getting smaller and smaller. But I might go to generative AI and throw that all in there and get that lead and that headline that I think would really work. But I will still write the story. So you could do things like that, like okay, here's my 3 paragraphs. I've written it out, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm not the best writer. Throw it into generative AI, ask them to clean it up for journalistic. It'll even ask you, do you want marketing? Do you want journalistic style? Do you want something a little more tender? It'll ask you tone, throw it in there and it can rewrite it for you to work. So don't kill, you can use generative AI to help you as much as you can put things out in the world to influence it. So, but test your marketing approaches. If it doesn't work, change it. It's okay. This is all, AI is an evolving landscape. Personalization at scale. Like I said, you could use it, tell me who we are. So maybe you get into AI and say maybe I think Connected Nation is A. And I get into AI and I say, how are people defining Connected Nation right now? And maybe I'm finding it's C and I need to do something to shift that. Improve campaign performance. You can use that to help them optimize assets at scale for text, image, video ads. AI can do all that. Um, and most tools that you use for this kind of stuff have a version of AI. Canva has an AI version. Adobe Express has an AI version. So most every tool that you use for this stuff is going to have an AI version now. Okay, so what to do right now? So use AI to generate question-based intros. So reformat content into bullet lists. Use AI SEO tools to spot and target snippet-friendly topics. So maybe I don't know the topic that we really should be focused on, and so you can ask about that. Consistently define key terms using what schema markup is that those FAQs I was talking about, and have it look at your branded content and continuously analyze and optimize existing pages. So you could say to AI, am I still relevant right now? Have I missed the next thing? What's going on? What's exciting right now? And by the way, this list was generated by AI. I did not generate this list. So I just said, okay, like I've done this whole thing. Hey, AI, what would you recommend for AI marketing strategies? All righty. And then parking lot, our story simplified by AI. So this was a great exercise, and why I've put it on here. It is not by any means required, and you may already have some of this already in your business plans or in your brand guide or whatever it is you use for that kind of thing. But it's always good. I mean, my team and I, we went through and we just we explored each of these areas, these 8 brand resonance story types, where your origin is, what your values are, your offerings, audience, etc., mythos, how you collab, that kind of thing, in 500 words or less. And what that does, if you go in and you write each of those, well, you've basically got I've got my whole thing, and these are the things I should be driving for. Is my website really doing that? Are the stories I'm putting out really doing that? You could even use it with AI when you're like, hey, AI, write an origin story for me. Bam, put it in, have them write something. And again, I said this earlier, repurpose everything. I can't stress that enough, especially as small businesses. I know as small business owners, you're doing 35 things. You're like, how am I going to even address this? Well, one of the ways is, you're going to have to spend something on marketing and comms. Just do it smart and repurpose everything. Testimonials from people, cross posted everywhere, email inquiries. I get email inquiries every week, and I'm working on doing a thing where on Canva, I make a little thing with a question and answer. That way I could just pop it in there and pop it out and put it out again. Do a podcast. We started a podcast literally. I've never done a podcast before, but started one as everything was closing down for the pandemic, that March 2020. And now we're in season 6. So if anybody has questions about podcasts, I'm happy to help you there. Um, but use everything more than once. If there's a great story written about you, go write a blog about it. Write a quick blog about it. Hey, this is awesome. Not only do you share the story, but then a week later you could say, hey, did you see this? And this is what I think about it. Repurpose, repurpose, repurpose. Get on Wikipedia, explore things like Reddit, TikTok, Signal, those kinds of things. Those are just other channels that don't cost you anything to get your name out. Um, and then what else you should know? Measurement is shifting from direct traffic and conversions. And if you have somebody on your team or if you're looking at these things, direct traffic and conversions are not necessarily, unless you have a lead and what you're trying to get is emails, and that's what you're calling your conversions. But like vanity measures, like we have huge vanity measures with our website and our direct traffic and our emails. Those don't necessarily matter as much now because you're really trying to attract AI. So you want your name mentioned on AI. Third, party validation really matters. Show me your friends. I'll tell you who you are. That's AI is looking for that. Um, Something to know that 50%, 51%, this was in July, of Gen Z women use TikTok over Google for discovery. So they find information other places. That's one of the reasons AI looks other places. So if this is your market, be on TikTok. Hashtags still very relevant. And just in case not everybody knows what a hashtag is, everything that I put out for Connected Nation has hashtag Connected Nation. Now we might have a specific thing like maybe it's on digital inclusion, maybe it's on an inter exchange point, and so I might have a hashtag digital inclusion, hashtag inter exchange point, but everything has hashtag Connected Nation, no matter what. And the reason that is hashtags are how people look up topics, look up you, and look up things, and including AI. AI uses them to find stuff. Last thing, your staff should be amplifying your social. You want to grow it. It grows your trust and authority indexes. So any social media you're on. Now, I'm not a big believer every business should be on every social media platform. Not at all. know the one that's right for you. Like for us, we're on LinkedIn. For our Teens Teach Tech program, it's only on Instagram. It's not anywhere else because that's not who we're trying to reach. We have a TikTok, but we're just now starting to spin that up, and only because now we know that it's going to stay. Um, we were on Twitter before, which is now X. We still are on that. We're on Blue Sky. We're on, but you know the ones that work for you. So like Pinterest, if you do a lot of things that are visual, that's probably a good space for you. Same thing with Instagram. Um, like I said, if you want to reach Gen Z women, you want to be on TikTok. So look into the different things. You don't have to do all of them. And on my last presentation, I mentioned there are tools that if you do want to be on multiple social media platforms, that you could post from one space and it will go out to all of them. So for instance, I usually do social media for our team on Mondays, and I had stories for Facebook and Twitter/X that went out, and I one post out it goes. Then I had something else for LinkedIn, but I could still do it from that same spot, and it's called Hootsuite. And that's something that a lot of comms people use is Hootsuite. But there are different versions of that. Just look it up. You can find free versions, so you don't have to go to each of your spots if you have multiple social media platforms. Yeah, I think that's it. Did we get any questions?
Yes, we do.
All right, let me unshare.
Here we
Am I still
go.
sharing? There we go.
Yeah, here's a good one, and I got one to come on back of this from Marcy. She says, when we create a blog, is that on our website? What about on Facebook or direct mail? What do you do with that? Yeah, because you hear, and you were hitting on this pretty hard about, create content. And I think there's just kind of a broader question. Well, then if I write a short blog, then what? That's the,
Okay.
then
Then
what?
what? Yeah, I got you. And that's wonderful that you're writing blogs. That's great. Now what you do is you put it out. You put it on social media. You send it to local media if you want. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You put it in your newsletter. You put it out multiple times. I will say if you're going to put it on social media, make sure you always have an image with it. Very important. Always put an image with it. Um,
Meaning, wait, before you go too far, image like my face,
oh, okay.
picture of a
So
landscape or what? What are we
well, it
doing?
depends what it is. If it's about cake, cake. I apparently
Okay.
need some cake since I keep talking about it. If it's about dogs and cats, a picture of a dog, cat. If it's about your staff member, a picture of your staff member at
Okay.
work. So whatever relates to that blog, make sure there's something out there. Now, if you don't have anything, that's what Canva is really good for. You can go on there. They have a little social media thing. You could make a little design in about 5 minutes and put that out there. And so you just want to use it. And just because you used it last week doesn't mean you can't use it next week. Use it again and again. Most people don't really it's like it's every comms person hears this when they're first in school, journalism, all of it. Most people don't really understand or process what you're telling them until they've heard it 3 times. So just because you've seen it doesn't mean they have. So continue to share it if you put those blogs out there. Creating content is a great way, especially from you, because it's your voice, what you believe is important for your business, putting it out there over and over. And I mean, I would encourage networking amongst the businesses. Share, look for ways for you guys to share. Hey, I saw that great blog, or hey, I have this great blog. Would you mind sharing it with your people? Share, support each other.
Yeah. So just take the next step. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were mentioning the importance of doing exactly what you said, but then they were keen on, if you're going to put out content, if you're writing for your business, that you also should put in like your personal brand. So it's important to have like a personal website. So you would link back to that. And, I don't know. What do you think about all that?
Okay, so here's the thing. If your business is your business and it's a brick and mortars business or you're a contractor or something like that, whatever that business model, your brand is, that's what you should do. I'll tell you, because I was a journalist, that there's a lot of especially when I was still in the business, a lot of argument about personal brand versus brand. So I worked for WDRB and I worked for WLKY in this market. I've worked for other TV stations, but those are the two in this market. And by the time I was at WDRB, they're making a lot of the reporters say, Jessica Denson, WDRB. Well, that kind of messes up your personal brand. If you are
Mhm.
someone who's going to go from city to city or who is going to mine people for your career, then you should have that personal brand. It's very, very important. But if you're running a business and you're running like a pet shop, the pet shop is the thing you want to focus on the most. Now, as part of that, your personality should come out. I think what I find that works best in social media is if you allow people to see what your personality is and why you care about this business and why you're even in it, you know?
Right.
I think then, so there can be a personal brand within your business, and there can be this other side that if you are the business, if that makes any sense. Does
Yeah,
that answer that?
it
So,
does.
like,
I
yeah,
get that.
I
Yeah.
also would stress that everybody should be on LinkedIn only to, if nothing else, to network with others and to see news within your business sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you can ask AI to check your LinkedIn page, make sure it's
up to
optimized.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you would be surprised. There's probably opportunities on LinkedIn to partner with others for them to lift up your business and vice versa. Like
Mhm.
things outside the box with that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Linda says, I want to learn how to do a podcast. We can
Okay.
learn that.
Yeah. Here, I'll put my email in the, do you want me to put my email or do you share it out? I
Just put
can
it
put
in
it.
there and then we'll share it. We'll do both.
Yeah.
Multiple
Okay.
times. That's what you
I'm
said, right?
putting my email in there. If you guys have questions about this, or yeah, I'm happy to teach you to do a podcast. It's not that hard, and
Mm.
it's not really that expensive, to be honest. Um, just know that I will be out of the country from September 23rd to October 7th. So those 2 weeks, the only time I won't be around. So if I'm quiet, that's why.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But I'm happy to show you how to do one. It's not, it's very, you just need your niche. Like for us, for Connected Nation, it's very, very niche. We talk to tech people, we talk about digital stuff, we talk about telehealth, telework, all that kind of stuff. And we've won 4 national awards from it, but it's so niche. It's so very specific to what we do.
Yeah. Robin says Canva also has a content planner that helps you schedule social media, but you have to have a Canva Pro Teams education or nonprofit plan.
Yeah, there's a lot of programs to help you schedule stuff, and then
Mhm.
you don't have to. You can schedule it. I'm kind of the belief that if I can, there's times when you're out for the holiday and I'll schedule for the holiday, but try to do it daily because there might be something good out there that I could skim off of. So for instance, say I'm a tree, I do tree trimming. And there's a story about, when you should have your trees looked at, or there's a story about, a bunch of trees downed in another part of the country because of disaster. That's an opportunity for you to say, oh, hey, I'm going to write that. You guys saw this news here. What do you really need to know? When should you be looking at trimming your trees? Should you do it regularly or should it be once every 5 years? I
Mhm.
wonder that because I have these 2 young trees that are like dripping stuff on my car. I close my door and I get trees. But anyway, so my point being is you could use things that are happening that day and even just write a paragraph or a sentence and
Right.
and use it. Yeah.
Kara says, this is all fascinating. I totally agree. Are there certifications or other trainings you suggest to enhance our personal and professional skill set or
I look.
to be a more rounded employee for the agency we work for? What do you think? What
Yeah,
would you recommend?
I looked into because I've started this journey down the AI, the AI, I don't know what you would call hole.
Rabbit hole,
Yeah,
the rabbit hole.
right. Um,
Yeah.
early last year, about March of last year, and I looked into a lot of training things like for my team and my staff, and LinkedIn hadn't really had any. They're not in the sphere of marketing and how you address it. Um, but I looked again, I want to say like in June, right before I went to that conference this year.
Mhm.
Still not really a lot out there in this vein, but it's my guess is it's coming. You just got to look for it. There are AI training for people how they can use it in their workplace.
Hollywood icon Robert Redford.
Whoa, Robert, yeah, I heard that. Robert Redford passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but you know, everything I said here about the AI marketing stuff, about using generative AI to help you with stuff are what a lot of businesses are doing, especially those big businesses like Microsoft and uh, Meta and the people that I talked to at that conference that were from those giant organizations. They're already looking at ways to streamline their business using generative AI. So you could even put that into there. As in for marketing, I think that's why a lot of the marketers there were freaking out because they're like, well, how do we stand out now? Um, and I was like, oh, we're in good shape because we already kind of do some of this.
Mhm.
Um, uh, they're still struggling with that, and like that, I haven't heard of any certifications yet, and I have looked, because this is something that's changing so fast that I think that things that we know now, there's probably going to be a version of them next year, and maybe the year after that, but after that, it's a gray area. How are things going to shift then?
Mhm.
So you kind of want to get ahead of it now, I would think, in the marketing sphere. So I'm sorry I
Yeah.
don't have a better answer for that because I looked too. I was like, I don't want to go I didn't even want to go to this conference. The reason I went was because they had topics on AI. The whole thing was AI marketing.
Right.
So yeah.
Leonard, hey Leonard, currently has a SEO company in India handling his website and social media. He says, I don't feel I'm getting the most out of them due to my limited time in running the business. What are ways they or I can use AI to get more out of the services they provide? He owns a laundromat in Georgetown, Kentucky.
Roger Moore. Well, yeah, that's just it is uh if they're in India, it's going to be hard for them to tell your story here. And telling your story is the big key right now with AI, is getting it out there. So if you have partners around there, I would suggest maybe working with some of them. You know, to me, if I were going to market you, I think that's interesting. A laundromat, you probably have a lot of interesting people that come through that. Do they do their own laundry or do you do it for them?
Yeah, we'll see what he says. But I think that what you're saying though is like maybe the stories need to be more about the people in the community.
Yeah. Well, it even like
Does both. He does both. They do their own and then he does
oh,
it.
you do both. I just think it's interesting. You probably have a lot of college kids that probably have interesting stories or something that's there, that you could lift that up. And those are a simple way to do it. A day of life in a laundromat. So you think this is what it's all about? It's not really. It's about this, like,
Mhm.
all those lost socks. I have them right here.
Right.
You can have some fun with a laundromat,
Yeah.
I think.
I
As for how
love
they
connections in the laundromat. Like,
yeah. How they can use the AI, I think is I would ask them to maybe write some recommendations about because you're talking about laundry like some of that stuff that's on my slides about the facts, because if you're talking about a laundromat, what you want to think about is what is the next question people are going to ask. First question they're going to ask is what are your hours, when can I get there? Two, I think that PAA that people ask what they're gonna ask next, probably, can I pay with coins or can I pay with my card? Because nobody carries cash anymore. What those people, I would ask them to go through and make sure you're answering those next questions that people have. That to me would be the facts section would probably be the most immediate on that. But you could have some fun with a
yeah,
laundromat, I think.
I would think so.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on creating Reels videos for the business? Best way to get those to spoke back into the
Oh,
business. What are your
yeah,
thoughts?
for Reels, you want that on Instagram and you want that on TikTok. Those are great ways to get them out. Also, say you have some great video, toss that to a media agencies if it's good. They'll use it. one thing about news agencies is they are just like all of us. We're all on skeleton crews now, because everything is more expensive and tighter and harder. And so anything you could do to make things easier on them, you can get that out that way. But reels and videos really belong on TikTok and Instagram. That's where you'll get the most bang for your buck for them. There's a push on LinkedIn right now to have more videos. Um, but I don't think they've quite hit their stride yet. A lot of people are doing some silly stuff, and I'm like, you're a CEO. I don't know if you should be doing that. Like, there's got to be a level of professionalism on, so you can have some fun with LinkedIn, but not a lot. It could be more of an informational thing, I think. Uh, TikTok and Instagram Reels, you have a little more leeway to tell your story in a fun way. Now, again, all videos don't have to be fun. It could be informational or an important issue. Like environmental agencies use TikTok a lot, and that's a serious issue. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Linda, this is a good question. There's been a little mention today about using Facebook to market a business. Is it a passing media?
It's not okay. It is, but it isn't. So they've changed the algorithm so many times that it's kind of messed. It's mussy. It's muddy. It's a little more gray than it used to be. Used to be when you go in and place an ad in Facebook marketing, you could be very specific about where you were going to do things, and you can still do that to a point, but it's not as effective as it used to be. Because of the algorithm changes. That's why, like now the algorithm, like if there's something you don't like, but you watch it because you're angry about it, say politics, that's why you get all the stuff that you're angry about on your feed all of a sudden because you happen to watch that. So you're not necessarily going to reach people the right way.
Yeah.
Now, if you put it on your Facebook page, the algorithm will play it with your followers within the next 2 to 3 days. They'll start to see it. Um, uh, Facebook is definitely not a day of, like, don't expect to see day of stuff. If you're going to do your menu for Monday, put that out on 2 or 3 days before.
Yeah.
It's not a day of thing. Instagram, unless you put it in your stories. Instagram is, TikTok is, and on my last one, I even had the times of day that are the best to post on that. So I'm sure I think David and Janet recorded the last one too. So
Yeah.
I have tips on how to use that. But you guys are welcome to ask me questions if you think down the road. I'm an open book with that kind of stuff, and I do know what it's like to try to do a lot with a little. So I'll never give you something that's going to take you days and days to do. It's anything I give you is going to be less than an hour. So
That's
yeah.
fantastic. 'Cause a lot of people don't have an hour, so-
No, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think that also if just I could the laundry thing, you could have some fun with the laundry thing. But say if you run you have a lot of waiters and waitresses, generally, I'm guessing that some of them are pretty young. So you probably should, use them and tell them, hey, tell your story of the day in the life and being a waiter. I want you to share that on your TikTok. And then
Right.
I'll share it on the company TikTok. Well, how exciting is that to a young professional? My boss wants to share my story. I'm going to do this. I get to do this cool TikTok for my boss. Use people that way. And by
Yeah.
use, I mean leverage what you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Jessica, this has been fantastic. This has been so much fun. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Thank
Yeah.
you, David and Janet, for stopping me at that coffee shop. You made me look good. That was my boss I was talking to. So you made me look good in front of my boss. I told him I promise I did not set this up.
We thank you for
Yeah.
answering the call and sharing your knowledge with our small business owners. And
Yeah, this has been really
we hope
good.
to have you again in the future if that's okay
Yeah.
with you.
Happy to do it. We could do an update.
Great.
Thank you all.
Thanks everybody for joining today, and thanks Jessica. Jana, thanks for driving the ship as always.
Yeah.
And we will see you on another Toolkit Tuesday. Have a good Tuesday, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.